flesh out his character. Flesh it out to the point that you could have someone like, if you have, you know, Amy with him, you can have Amy be like, whoa, Rotor, calm your horses. You know, we've saved the planet. Yeah, we're still protecting it. Why are you so determined to just keep going and going? And maybe through this you could have Rotor be like, look, the last time we let our guard down, and again, you can, all these universe arcs that I'm going to be I have mentioned, that need to happen, that I've mentioned and will mention, you have to have the characters remember the old timeline. That's got to be key. You have to have them remember it in some way. And you can have Rotor come out and say, look, the last time we sat on our lures, or the last time we, you know, let things go, Eggman nearly wiped out all of time in existence. And because of that, the planet was shattered apart when he altered it. When it got altered. So we can't lay back anymore. We got to do something. We got to keep going. We got to keep doing this. We got to keep doing that. And to me, this would be great character development for someone like Rotor, because then you could have someone like an Amy Rose or someone, one of his co-stars, come out and say, look, we get that. Look, we get where you're coming from. We get it. But the planet's fine now. And yes, we got to prevent, you know, history from repeating itself, but it doesn't mean we have to keep pushing ourselves. I mean, we saw how Sally basically was able to get him to kind of calm down and realize, yes, our priority is to save the planet and piece it back together. But our priority is also to help others out there, help others around us, bring happiness while we still can. So to me, that's something that they could really be put in this to help flesh out Rotor's character even more so in a Sonic Universe arc. And maybe, just like with Bunny, maybe have him reveal that a part of him would like things to go back, in a sense, to what they were in the old timeline. You know, maybe make him feel like, hey, I want things. Maybe make him feel like, look, we need things to. Maybe make him be the one that's like, hey, even though in the old timeline I was a councilman and all this and that, it was a little bit more peaceful. Things were peaceful. We weren't flying around in a fortress constantly, day and night, being away from our loved ones, just because a madman wants to, just because a madman wants to conquer the world and maybe have history repeat itself by shattering it again, and everything. And now because of that, we got to be on this fortress, or this base constantly, almost every day, to make sure that doesn't happen, when we should be at home relaxing. Which is why, and then you can have him build into what, basically you can have him add this into what he's talking about to whoever his co-stars are, by saying, but this is exactly why, in a sense, why we can't sit on our laurels anymore. Because the sooner we stop Eggman, or anybody else that wants to try to conquer this world and repeat history, the sooner we could get back. But if we constantly relax, constantly, sit on our laurels, we're not going to get that. Or something like that. And maybe make it a self-discovery as well, just like with bunnies, but make it a self-discovery to where maybe you could put a panel in one of the issues where he looks in the mirror and he sees his father. He doesn't see himself, he sees a reflection of his father, and he realizes maybe part of him slowly becoming a part of him slowly becoming just like his father, something he doesn't want to be. And that reasoning being is because he wants to constantly keep going and not sit on the butts while something happens, even if the world's repaired. So to me, I know I sounded like I was rambling there, but to me, everything I've mentioned there, to me, would really help make a Sonic Universe arc featuring Rotor as the main star, as the main character, definitely worth reading, because it would definitely be a good character fleshing out story. It really would. It really would. Now, of course, knowing, Archie Comics You got to have a Knuckles in there. So the next couple of ones, the next two, a Knuckles, which is number 4, and number 5 being Shadow. These are the kind of stories that they can write themselves, I truly believe. So I trust whatever Ian Flynn or Tracy Yardlin or Leah Baker could come up with them for them, but I do believe that a Knuckles universe arc and a Shadow universe arc could definitely be the kind that write themselves, no matter what you give them. But then after that, you have to have a universe arc featuring Clove and Cassie. That's right, the egg bosses that are basically the egg bosses that don't want to be egg bosses, but are basically there because of what's going on. And you can make this a redemption story for them. Flat out redemption story, as well as a quest. You can make this a redemption story as well as a quest story. A redemption story because you could use this for them to finally find a way to get away from Eggman, finally go off on their own. You know, basically they finally find a way to get away from him, go off on their own, and then use their talents to start redeeming themselves in the eyes of everybody that they've attacked and they've hurt on the behalf of Eggman. Have them come out and apologize for their actions. Have them show to certain villages that, hey, we're not with him anymore. We're here to help you. Have them earn that trust back through redemption. As well as go on a quest. As well at the same time while they're doing this, go on a quest to find maybe a cure, some kind of antidote, a cure to Cassie's illness, so that Cassie no longer has to, rely just on the cybernetics anymore, and maybe find a way that, and you could even build this into some of the main arcs of the main comic, maybe find a way to, put someone back to flesh and blood. But basically you need to make it a quest to where they find a permanent solution to Cassie's illness and not have to just rely on Eggman anymore, as well as use it as a story of redemption since they've left Eggman, and let them redeem themselves and re-earn the trust of those that they've attacked and they've hurt on behalf of Eggman, to show that, hey, we're on your side. We're good guys. We're good girls now. We're here to help you. We're here to redeem ourselves. So to me, that would be a great way for Cassie and Clove to have their own arc. Next up, just like with Shadow and Knuckles, the 7th one, of course, you're going to get into the Silver arc. There's no doubt about that. And again, just like with Shadow and Knuckles, it's going to be one that writes itself. No matter what you give Silver, whether it's Aaliyah, Ian, or Tracy Yardlin, a story you give Silver is going to write itself. Number 8 is, I think we definitely have to have another Nicole one. Now I know some people are going to say that the last one, Spark of Life, mostly became about Sally, but no. It's like I said in part 1 of this. It became more like a Sally-Nicole team-up, but it was a Nicole origin arc because she was the primary focus. But yes, it was mostly at times a Sally-Nicole team-up issue, even though it was a Nicole origin story arc with her as the primary character. Now, when I talk about Nicole having her own arc, you could have her interact with co-stars. Like, I think this time you need to put Bunny with her, maybe Amy. Put Bunny and Amy and Cream with her this time. Kind of do all girls, if you will. And have her continue her story with Phage. Have her continue her story with Dr. LED. And make her learn more about what happened. Make her connect, basically allow her to connect more with LED. And maybe try to find out more about Phage. And maybe discover that a part of Phage is Nikki. That Nikki is a part of Phage. That Phage was created out of what was left of Nikki. And use this as a story to where Nicole, as overclocked Nicole, or herself, or even a newer super form, comes out and tries to basically cleanse Nikki of phage, of the virus known as phage, and bring Nikki back, so that at least Dr. LED could have his daughter back in some way. I think to me that would be a great story, because maybe you could see it, maybe you could look at it along the lines that if that happens and Nikki gets freed by Nicole by phage, that Nikki could look at Nicole and Nicole can look at Nikki, and maybe LED could look at them as, hey, you're sisters. And maybe that could work. Maybe you can give Nicole a little bit of family, do LED as sort of a surrogate father to her, as well as sort of a surrogate sister with Nikki, in a sense. So, and it would be a great way to introduce Nikki into the continuity to be brought back later on. But I think it would definitely a Nicole continuation, a Spark of Life arc with LED and phage, and this time you could put Amy and Cream and Bunny with her this time. I think could really help out. I really do. And I think a lot of fans might like that, whether some might agree with that or not. Alright. The ninth one, I think, speaking of Amy and Cream, who I definitely think should be the next Sega characters to join up with Nicole in the second story arc she gets, Amy and Cream need to have one as well. And this should be one that I think builds off the aftermath of what goes on here, because apparently the silhouettes say that Cream is the key to saving the world. I think that's what one of the silhouettes said one time. I'm not really sure. But to me, you got to build off the aftermath and maybe start to build that sisterly bond between Cream and Amy, and have them acknowledge, and have maybe a hint, maybe have it acknowledged that they're not just friends, they're more like sisters, just like Tails and Sonic are not just BFs, but they're more like brothers. And, you know, make this about about them growing that sisterhood. Maybe make it a story to where Amy helps teach Cream, and in a sense, at the same time, Cream helps teach Amy things about each other. Have them go on an adventure to where they learn more about each other. Maybe Cream realizes that she needs to go on this adventure along with Amy to in a sense, become an official member, to show and prove she can go on these missions and not get hurt, because she's already proven herself by saving the world, or helping to save the world. So to me, an Amy and Cream one about discovering each other, learning from each other, as well as, you know, sort of building that sisterly bond between the two, I think could really work for a Sonic Universe arc. Now number 10 definitely I think needs to be done. We've always had her teaming with Amy and Cream, but I think on her own you need to give Blaze her own arc. You need to. You need to give Blaze the Cat her own arc. Making an origins arc, if you will, of how she became Guardian of the Soul Emeralds as well as a princess. Or maybe making an arc where she looks around, maybe she's trying to, or she goes on a journey or an adventure on her own to try to repair any damage that was done to her world because of the Genesis Wave, or the abrupt altered Genesis Wave. Have her go around there. Maybe have a connection with Silver, because a lot of people like Silver and Blaze together. Have a Genesis portal appear in Blaze's world. Have these things come out. Because even though Sonic's world might get repaired, have the Genesis portal still be a bit of a problem to where she encounters Silver. And Silver helps her out. Maybe make Silver her co-star. You know, things like that. I think that could really, really work out, in my opinion. So, to me though, a Blaze arc is long overdue. As well as this one, number 11, a Rouge arc. That's right, Rouge the Bat, definitely in my opinion needs one. You have her teaming up with Shadow, that's great. There's no doubt about that, but I think on her own, maybe with Omega as a co-star, maybe with Knack as an adversary, whatever, you need to get, maybe with that Madonna character, or this revised version of Madonna who's part of Gun. You'll make her co-star, sort of an answer to Topaz in Sonic X. You know, make her like a co-star with Rouge, and have Rouge go on a journey or an adventure, maybe go on a solo, maybe go on a mission to where, you know, she has to go on a, well, basically, have her go on a mission to where she has to go, not solo, but she's not going to be joined by Shadow or Omega. Instead, she's going to be joined by Madonna, the commander of Gun, or whatever she is. Have her be that one. Have Snively get involved as well. Make that a reluctant team up there. That could be interesting in its own right. But have her go on a mission. It's sort of a team-up mission, not with Shadow Omega, but with two other characters. Because let's say you want to put Shadow on a different mission along with Omega. And like, let's say, story-wise, they could have it to where Shadow's on a different mission, Omega's recharging. Have it like that. To where, like I said, you know, she goes on a mission and and because Shadow's away doing something else and Omega's recharging, she has to team up with the Madonna character and Snively to, you know, to go on this mission and figure out what's going on. And maybe this mission can relate to the Genesis portals. That could work. So I definitely think a Rouge one, though, is long overdue and it has to be done. And finally, in my opinion, definitely have to do one on Antoine and Bunny. Now, I'm not talking... Now, I know I said in part 1 when I mentioned that Bunny needs to have one, you can have Antoine with her. That's great. But I'm talking here an Antoine and Bunny one to where they are both primary figures in the story. And they discover more about each other. Just like Amy and Cream discover more about each other through that sisterly bond that you're building and strengthening. Here, through this marriage that they have, or this marriage that they got with each other, have it be, you know, a story of discovery. Discovering more about each other. Discovering more about what each other can do side by side. But also, if you want to make it a little mature at times, kind of show that it is all ages, kind of delve in maybe. Delve in maybe into the possibility of them starting a family. And realizing that they can't really start a family because of what happened with Bunny. So, you know, when she was younger. And the cybernetics that she had to be given. The robotization she had to go through, if you will, thanks to Uncle Chuck. But make it sort of a discovery issue to where they learn more about each other. They go on, and you know, what will make this interesting is you don't have to have them located in one constant area like some Sonic Universe arcs. Have them, Antoine and Bunny, have each arc or each part of this arc start in a different location with them going on an adventure from one different issue to the next. Like they could be in the Savannah Zone for one issue, and then the next they could be in an Emerald Zone, or on the next they could be in Station Square. You kind of get the point. But to me, I think this has to be one, like I said, of discovering what each other can do together, but also learning more about the future. Learning more about what the future lies ahead for them as a couple, as a married couple, as husband and wife, through these journeys, through these adventures. I mean, we sort of got a glimpse of that with a side story back around 2-something, with them kind of saving people. I think it was in Station Square or somewhere, and one of the people they saved was a married couple who had just gotten married.